Hi everyone, very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Now, in this particular session, guys, what we do, we take current affairs of past 1 week, and in this particular video, we are going to cover the current affairs from 26th August to 1st of September. Also, I would like to tell you that you can download PDF notes of this particular session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram you will be finding in the description box as well as in the comments also. Also, before I start, I would like to tell you about our Ethics Foundation batch that is going to start from the 5th of September. Now, this particular batch will be live online batch. You can also access the recordings if you are not able to see the live classes. There will be, in this particular entire module, we will focus on both section A theory part as well as section B case studies. Also, here we are going to ensure that current affairs related to ethics should be covered in the classes. Moreover, every class you will be getting the crisp handouts. There will be the comprehensiveness in terms of notes as well as the syllabus completion that will be there. Also, this entire course will be followed with the previous year question discussion as well as answer writing sessions. So, if you are not confident on the ethics paper, you can enroll in this particular course, and the link for enrollment is given in the pinned comment. So first pinned comment is the link you can enroll in this particular course. Also, we are also offering the flat 10% concession to first 100 students, so you can avail of that. Now let's get started with the session. Now, in this session, we have divided the articles in two parts, that is the prelim specific articles and the main specific article. Now, first we will be discussing articles that are important for the mains examination. And the first article that we have here is Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, because the 10-year anniversary of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana has been completed. Now, on this particular dimension, you can see that multiple articles came in the different newspapers. In fact, other articles were also there. So I have compiled all of them. Now, first of all, before we go in this particular article, there are some basic details that you should know first. Now, guys, you see this particular thing that financial inclusion happens to be an important component of not only economic development but also of social development, because if people are financially included. Now, first of all, what does the financial inclusion means? Financial inclusion means that every person should be covered under the institutional financial umbrella. It means that they should have bank account. It also means that they should have access to institutional credit. Third, they should have some insurance product, and fourthly, they should also have some saving instrument. Now, traditionally, when we use the word financial inclusion, we mean that financial inclusion only mean having the bank account. No, financial inclusion, focus on the word financial inclusion. It means that every person should be included in the financial umbrella and should have access to basic financial products, in which bank account is one of a product. So a person should have access to bank account, person should have access to institutional credit, person should have access to formal insurance as well as a saving instrument. Now, Jan Dhan Yojana was started way back in 2014 to provide universal accessibility of the bank account. It also had the components such as overdraft, which provided a kind of a savings facility also, but primarily it was on the bank accounts, financial inclusion. Now, it was opened up in 2014, and since 2014, now 2024, 10 years have happened. So we will see here that what are the achievements of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Now, you have GS paper number 2. And in GS paper number 2, there is the topic of developmental schemes, and there is assessment of these particular schemes that have been given, critical evaluation of the schemes that have been given. So in that particular component, we are going to see this particular article. Now, what is the assessment of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana? Now, first of all, in the past 10 years, there is massive financial inclusion that have happened. Now, what is financial inclusion? So, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana has opened 53.1 crore bank account, and 67% bank accounts they have been opened up in the rural or semi-urban areas. They have been opened up in rural or semi-urban areas. Now, when financial inclusion were concerned, there were regional disparities that have always been there in financial inclusion. People living in rural areas did not had access to banking products. But here, 67% of these bank accounts have been opened up in the rural and semi-urban areas. So therefore, rural population have come under the formal banking system. Then next thing that has been there. So basically, guys, in fact, National Family Health Survey 5. Now you see two things I'm connecting here, and please note it down in your handout, in your notes also. By the way, please download this particular notes. You see this particular thing, National Family Health Survey 5. National Family Health Survey 5 noted down this particular thing, that a substantial number of women lacked the bank accounts, which is an important driver of their economic mobility. Okay, bank accounts have been said as the driver of economic mobility. National Family Health Survey 5. Also, you see this particular thing. Then that when we talk about the National Multidimensional Poverty Index that is released by Niti Aayog. National Multidimensional Poverty Index released by Niti Aayog. So here there is one particular parameter which takes in account in the National Multidimensional Poverty Index. Fine, quality of life. There, bank accounts are included. And accessibility of bank accounts with the women happens to be very important aspects. And a large number of bank accounts for the women have been opened. So here we find this particular thing. Women now constitute 55.6% of total accounts that are opened up in the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Let me show you that particular indicator of the National Multidimensional Poverty Index that I was telling you, and then we will be connecting it. Fine. So okay, so we have National Multidimensional Poverty Index. Okay, so here we have this National Multidimensional Poverty Index. Let it open. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so here we have this National Multidimensional Index. Now, if you see National Multidimensional Index, within National Multidimensional Index, there is this particular parameter of standard of living. And in this particular parameter of a standard of living, bank account is one of a parameter that has been added. So what I was trying to tell you, I was telling you that bank accounts accessibility happens to be an important developmental parameter. Even in NMDPI it is included, and even National Family Health Survey says that accessibility of bank account for women is important aspect for their mobility and for their economic mobility. And when we talk about the National Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, 55.6% accounts have been opened up for the women. Also, deposit growths in these particular accounts have also been increased. So we find this particular thing, that average balance that was there, it was 1065 in 2015 and it has increased to 4352. What does it mean? It means that first of all, you see there is approximately 4x growth that has happened. It shows that people are actively using these bank accounts and are also keeping money in these bank accounts, which shows that savings are going up. Right now, we find this particular thing. In fact, you remember last week we have discussed one article that bank deposits are going down, which is a very big concern. But as people are saving more money in the Jan Dhan accounts, it will increase the national deposits for the bank, number one. Number two, it will also increase the saving rate of the country if people will save. And actually, there is a 4x increase that has happened in the last 9 years. Okay, so total deposits in these accounts are around 2,31,529 crore rupees. Then moving on, also these Jan Dhan accounts are being used for direct benefit transfer. Now see this particular thing, that when we talk about the government's welfare schemes, always there have been the problem of leakages and corruption. For example, a worker does some work under MG Narega. At MG Narega site, he does some work. When wages was to be given to him in cash, there was a possibility that the contractor or the person who is heading this particular site might take some 10%, 15% cut. But now what is happening? Entire wage is coming in the bank account. So leakages have went down. Direct benefit transfer. Government is now directly giving the financial subsidies in the bank accounts. So it has also helped into the DBT. Now you see this particular thing that up till now, huge amount, 38.5 lakh crore rupees, it has been transferred through DBTs, and these DBTs, direct benefit transfer, have happened in the bank accounts that were opened under the Jan Dhan Yojana. This particular thing is also saving money for the government. Okay, so 3.48 lakh crore rupees of leakages have also been plugged. 3.48 lakh crore rupees leakages have also been plugged. Moreover, also see this particular thing. This Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, it also provides access to other financial products. For example, overdraft facility that I was telling you. Fine. Then next thing that comes here is that when we talk about Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, what are the patterns with respect to the adoption of this particular scheme? So when adoption is concerned, we find this particular thing that the states such as UP, Maharashtra, Haryana, they have seen delayed usage impact. Okay. The impact has been varied. States UP, Maharashtra, Haryana have seen delayed usage impact with the reduction of thefts. Okay, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they have consistently benefited. Gujarat, Karnataka have a limited impact. Okay, then moving on. After that, next thing that comes here is that because of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, as number of bank accounts that are being opened, they increased. Banking infrastructure has also increased, because as more people have bank accounts, they will obviously be needing access to ATM, they will be needing access to the branch. So you see this particular thing, because of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, commercial bank branches have increased by 66%. They have been increased by 66% in the last 10 years. Also, number of ATMs, they have increased by 30%. Point of sale terminal, these are the machines on which the cards are swiped. Point of sale machines, they have been increased by 88%. Why these POS machines are increasing? Because people have the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan account. In that account, they are given the RuPay debit card. They are using directly those particular debit cards. So digital transactions are increasing, and for the digital transactions, point of sale terminals, point of sale machines are increasing. So we find this particular thing that banks have increased, ATMs have increased, POS machines have increased. Also, digital transactions point we have already taken up. Now there are some challenges, as well as there are certain things that are to be kept in mind. First of all, as this financial inclusion is happening, people are having more accounts. We need to focus that how consumer protection is. Now see, often people don't have digital literacy, often people don't have financial literacy. Because of this particular factor, what happened, many number of a time, they face frauds and thefts. So consumer education, consumer protection needs to be focused upon, number one. Also, we are rolling out now new digital products such as unified lending interface. Now, what is this unified lending interface? We'll discuss it. Now, as these new products are coming and all these products are being connected with the bank account, so consumer protection, consumer literacy, consumer education is also very much important. Next thing that comes here, financial literacy and inclusion. Okay, financial literacy and inclusion. Still, there are large number of people who are not covered. We need to reach them. Okay. Financial literacy point already we have discussed. We need to specifically target the marginalized communities which have not got covered, particularly minorities, tribal people, PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Fine, we need to address them. Also, now support for vulnerable population we have discussed. Expansion of financial product. Now we need to move beyond the bank accounts. We need to move beyond the bank accounts and all the other associated instruments that are there. That is a saving account, insurance, that is also to be provided. So in this particular article, we get a lot of data. In this particular direction, and I will suggest you to please use this particular data. Now, moving on, and here we have this article, unified lending interface. Now, recently what has happened, Reserve Bank of India, RBI governor had said that they are working on unified lending interface, and this unified lending interface will be rolled out soon. It will soon be provided to the public. Now, this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3. Okay. Now, banking, credit, we are going to see this particular article. Now, first of all, what is this unified lending interface? Okay, now you see this particular thing. It is a UPI-like moment in India, but specifically oriented on the lending business, specifically focused, oriented on the lending business. Now, often we find this particular thing that MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises, okay, farmers, agrarians, they don't have access to the formal credit, and because they don't have access to formal credit, often they get negatively impacted. Now there will be a one-stop platform by the name of unified lending interface, and on this particular platform, all the different organization, for example, government database, banks, credit bureaus, digital identity system, all will come together in this single platform. Let's understand this in more simple words. You see, first of all, suppose I want a loan. Now I will approach bank. Now bank need to assess my credit worthiness. They will see that what is the credit score I am having. We often use the word CIBIL score, CIBIL. That is the credit worthiness score. Also, bank need to see what is my financial history in the past. Bank also need to see that what is my income, what are my assets, all these particular things an organization will assess, then it will give me loan. Now I might be going to 5-10 different banks. I might be going to the different NBFCs for availing the loan. Process is cumbersome. Process is very hectic. Now, rather than this, there will be one single platform. That is unified lending interface. On this particular platform, government database will be integrated. Okay, credit bureaus will be there. Credit bureaus are the organization which will give the interface, which will give the credit score. Banks will be there. Digital identity system, Aadhaar identification system, etc. All will be there on this one common platform. And what will happen? Free exchange of information will happen, and in less time I will be able to get my loan if I am eligible. If I am eligible, I am able to get loan through this unified lending interface. Is it clear or not? Fine. Also ULI is aligned with the Jan Dhan, bank accounts, Aadhaar, and mobile authentication. So this is the thing that is going to be there. Now you see this particular thing, that when we talk about the unmet demands for formal credit, so MSME sector, micro, small and medium enterprises, they face a significant credit gap. Earlier it was 20 to 25 trillion. Now it has increased to 28 trillion. This is the credit gap. Matlab, they need money, but they are not getting it. Okay. Now there can be certain impacts of ULI. Now, what are the potential impacts of ULI? So it will make lending process faster, simpler, and will benefit the MSMEs. And it has been compared with the UPI. Now, moving on, next is UPS. UPS stands for Unified Pension Scheme. UPS, Unified Pension Scheme. Now, this particular article we can take for GS paper number 2. Government schemes and assessment of the government schemes. Also, we can take it for the GS paper number 3. Now, before going in this particular article, let's take the basic background information and then we'll be going in the detail of this particular article. Okay, so basically guys, you see that we'll be starting from here. So basically, there was, सबसे पहले, initially, first, there was OPS, Old Pension Scheme. This old pension scheme was discontinued around 2004 and government moved to the NPS, New Pension Scheme. Now, government has proposed UPS, Unified Pension Scheme. Today, employees have an option that they can opt for NPS or UPS, whatever they want. So, NPS and UPS are there today. OPS, it got discontinued in 2004. Now, first of all, what is the difference between OPS, UPS and NPS? So initially we had this old pension scheme. Now in old pension scheme, there was the pension that was promised, that is 50% of the last drawn basic pay. Okay, so let's say my last drawn basic pay is 5,000 rupees. So 50% of that basic pay will be provided to me as a pension. That was the old pension scheme. People called it as simple and more welfare oriented. In this particular scheme, entire money will be paid by the government. Then NPS scheme, National New Payments Pension Scheme, National Pension Scheme or New Pension Scheme. Now this national pension or new pension scheme that was there, it provided that what will be done now? Now government and employee both will give some contribution. So what will happen? NPS, there will be a defined contribution that will be paid by employee and government. This entire money will be invested in the market instruments. It will be invested into the market instruments, debt instrument, bond instrument. It will be invested in the market. By that, some return will be generated, and out of that corpus, pension will be given to employee. Now you see this particular thing. In NPS, it was said that 10% contribution will be by employee, 14% contribution will be by the government. 10% contribution by employee, 14% contribution by the government. This was the NPS. In OPS, no employee contribution, entire money will be given by government, and there was a guarantee that 50% of your basic pay you will get as the pension. Now, UPS, what has happened? Now, government is saying that 50% of the average basic pay over the last 12 months, this pension will be giving you. So, we have reverted something back to the OPS, because in OPS, old pension scheme, 50% of the basic pay was given. Here also, in the last 12 months, what basic pay you have drawn? Uska 50%. That's 50% will be giving you as a pension. So, something like OPS. But in OPS, this is similar to OPS. 50% basic pay pension is being given of basic pay. But what is different? In OPS, employee did not give any contribution. But here, employee has to give contribution. So, employee will contribute 10%. Government will contribute 18.5%. Also, in NPS, OPS, no tax benefit, because no employee contribution was required. NPS, tax benefits was there. UPS, we don't know whether the tax benefit will be there or not. Government has to clarify. Also, one particular thing is that in UPS, government has guaranteed that minimum 10,000 pension will be given to the people who have worked for 10 years. At least a 10,000 pension will be given if you have worked for 10 years. So this is the UPS, Unified Pension Scheme. Is it clear or not? Now, let's go a little bit in more detail in the UPS, Unified Pension Scheme. Fine. So, number one, 50% of the employee's average basic pay. Now, this will be given for this. If you want 50% of your basic pay, if you want as pension, a person has to do service for at least 25 years. So, minimum 25 years service has to be given. Now, if you have done less service, you will get proportionally less pension. Also, if the person who is getting pension dies, then their immediate family will receive 60% of the last drawn pension. Not 60% of the salary, 60% of the pension. Suppose the person was drawing the salary of 5,000 rupees, pension will be 50%, that is 2,500. 2,500, 60% will be given to the family if the retiree dies. Okay. Also, there will be inflation indexation. So basically, pensions will be adjusted as per inflation. Pensions will be adjusted as per the inflation. And here, All India Consumer Price Index for industrial workers will be used. Okay. Also, there is a provision for the lump sum payment at the time of retirement. Now, you see this particular thing. Employee will receive a lump sum payment, and this particular payment will be equivalent to the 1/10, or it will be equivalent to the 10% of their monthly emoluments. Okay. For every 6 months of service. Now, understand this particular thing. Suppose a person was getting a monthly emolument which includes the pay and dearness allowance, let's say person was getting 10,000. Person was getting 10,000. Now, equivalent to 10% will be given for every 6 months completed. For every 6 months completed. For every 6 months completed. Is it clear or not? Then employee contribution is there. We discussed already that 10% will be there. Okay. Also, employees have a choice. They can migrate to UPS or they can stay in the NPS. They have choice. They can migrate to UPS or they can stay in the NPS. Okay. Then it might have financial implication for the government. It will result to fiscal burden of 6,250 crore rupees annually. As we talk about global comparisons, globally, many countries have given the higher pensions as per the OPS and they have suffered. For example, Australia, Sweden, Japan, Italy, they have faced significant fiscal challenges due to the generous pension payments that have been there. So basically, government need to ensure this particular thing, that they should ensure that how this particular scheme can be managed sustainably. Okay, moving on. Assam's Muslim marriage law. Assam's Muslim marriage law. Now, okay. So now this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS 1 and 2, social issues, social justice. Social issues, social justice, GS 1, GS 2, we are going to see this particular article. Now, basically what has happened, Assam has came out with Assam Compulsory Registration of Muslim Marriages and Divorce Bill 2024. Assam Compulsory Registration of Muslim Marriages and Divorce Bill 2024. Now it aims to address child marriage, polygamy, and the role of qazis, that is the Islamic legal scholars. Now, first of all, before we go in this particular direction, there is some basic background information that we'll see first. There is a basic background information that we'll be seeing first. Okay. Now, you see this particular thing, that we have Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. Now, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006 provides minimum age of marriage at 18 for females, 21 for male. 18 for female, 21 for males. But at the same time, we don't have any uniform civil code. We don't have any uniform civil code. It means that communities are allowed to follow their own personal civil laws. Communities are allowed to follow their own personal civil laws. Now, when personal civil law is concerned, there are largely 4 subjects that are dealt by personal civil law. What? Number 1, it deals with marriage. Number 2, it deals with divorce. Number 3, it deals with adoption. And number 4, it deals with inheritance. It deals with inheritance. Marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance, these 4 things Prohibition of Child Marriage Act deals with. Sorry, my apologies. Personal civil laws deal with. In personal civil laws, communities are allowed to regulate these 4 matters: marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance. They are allowed to do that. So, with respect to marriage also, different communities have different laws. They have different norms. Now, when the Muslim community is concerned, so basically, as a social practice, Muslims have allowed women to get married once they attain puberty. Once they attain puberty. Now, a woman attains puberty in the age of around 13-14 years. 13-14 years. Now, this particular thing, if you see, it directly goes against the PCMA provision, that is the minimum age of 18 years. It outrightly goes against that, but they are allowed to do this particular thing because we don't have a uniform civil code. Communities, they have, right now, they have the power to, right now, they have a power that they can follow their own personal laws. Okay. Now this is there, but what has happened? Assam has come out with an act, that is Assam Compulsory Registration of Muslim Marriage and Divorce, Bill 2024. Now this particular bill will replace Assam Muslim Marriages and Divorce Registration Act 1935, which is a colonial era law. This law is being replaced. Now, as per this particular bill, there are certain key objectives that are there. Number one, it aims to prevent the child marriages. It aims to prevent child marriages. It aims to prevent child marriage. Now it says that Muslim marriages can only be registered if bride and groom, boy and girl, bride girl and groom boy, they are both at least 18 years old. 18 years old. If they are less than 18 years old, their marriage cannot be registered. Why? Because it aims to curb the child marriage, which is a significant issue in the Assam. Now this is a good progressive step. Then second, they also try to check the polygamy. Now what is polygamy? You see, there can be there can be monogamy, there can be polygamy. There will be monogamy, there can be polygamy. Now in monogamy there can be two, that is a straight monogamy, and there can be serial monogamy. In polygamy there can be two, that is polygyny, polyandry. Polygyny and polyandry. Straight monogamy means you marry one person for the life, means there is no possibility for divorce and getting married with another person. Serial monogamy means you marry one person at a time. Means a person can seek divorce, can marry another person. At a time, a person will be married to one person. That is serial monogamy. Polygamy, there can be polygyny. Polygyny is when one male marries multiple females. That is polygyny. Polyandry is opposite, when one female marries multiple males. That is polyandry. Now in Islamic community we see that polygyny is there, that is followed. Now it aims to check the polygyny or polygamy. So polygyny is under the polygamy only. So it aims to regulate polygamy, and what it ensures? It ensures that first marriage is to be legally registered before any subsequent marriage. If a person wants to go for polygamy, then first marriage is to be registered. Then they aim to reform the role of qazis. Now qazis are the legal religious scholars. So their role in registration process, registration of marriage has been removed. Now registration of marriages will be done by the government appointed officials. Okay. Now there are certain concerns that have come. Number one, critics say this particular thing, that there is a restriction, or there is a compulsion that the marriage is to be registered within the 30 days. And there will be district as well as the state level registrar who will register the marriage. The two levels the registrar will be there, at the district level and the state level. So it says that the process has become more complicated, first of all because two level registrars are involved. Secondly, they say that as there a 30-day timeline is there, it will put undue pressure and undue burden. Secondly, opposition political parties say this particular thing, that if you wanted to remove the child marriages, then amendment could have been done. Why? The 1935 Act has been removed. So many parties are on the opposition. They are also saying that this is an attempt to homogenize. It is an attempt for the homogenization of the minority religious communities. Is it clear? This is something that is coming. Now, moving on in this particular direction. Next article we have here is weather resilience and upgrading IMD. And here also you can see multiple articles are there. Now, basically, this particular issue is brewing from this particular issue is brewing from a long period of time. What actually happened? There was landslides that happened in Wayanad. Also, during monsoons, we see that there are so much incidents that happened. Urban flooding is there, cloud burst, etc. are there. There were a lot of landslide incidents that happened in Himalayan states also. Now, often what happens, it is said that IMD is not able to give the microscopic data, district-wise data, block-wise data. IMD fails to give, and because of that, preventive strategies are not taken. It is problematic. Now, we will take this particular article for GS paper number 3, disaster management. Also GS paper 1, geographical phenomena, and the role of IMD in that capacity we are also going to discuss. Now, what has happened? So IMD is now set to upgrade its weather forecasting capabilities so that it can provide better advanced warnings and forecast in the when there are the extreme events are concerned. Also, it aims to, now these particular upgrades are also important for hyper local forecast, means forecast at the level of district, forecast at the level of at the level of district, forecast at the level of blocks, etc. It is important. Now, what are the current challenges in the weather forecasting? Okay, so over the years, long range forecast have increased. Many days in advance, IMD is able to give warning with respect to rainfall, with respect to impending storms, fine, weather phenomena. But hyper local accuracy is a problematic thing. It can give forecast with respect to a state or a region, but forecast with respect to a particular district, a particular block, it has struggled. And because of that particular thing, often unforeseen events, they remain unaddressed and they become a major catastrophe, they become a disaster. Also, AI integration has been missing. So we see this particular thing that AI integration is happening almost everywhere, but in the weather forecast, AI integration has not happened. Also, now IMD is going to collaborate with the research institutions such as the IIT Bombay so that they can study the advanced rainfall models, IIT Mandi, so that they can better understand the landslide predictions. Okay, so this is something that IMD is going to do. Also, when we talk about the IMD, so IMD's role over the year, it has expanded. Over the year, it has been expanded from basic forecasting, and now it provides more detailed forecast, which is actually needed for weather proofing, for the climate proofing. This is good, and these upgrades that IMD is going to take is going to be helpful in this particular capacity. Okay. Now, over the last 1 decade, a lot of infrastructural upgrades have also been taken up by IMD. For example, IMDs, it have expanded its infrastructure. Automatic weather stations have been added, Doppler radars have been added, high performance computers have been added, supercomputers have been added, which can give the advanced level forecast. But still there are the challenges, which are there, which IMD is going to address, which is very much important for the weather proofing, for ensuring the shock absorption in the event of the extreme climatic events. Okay, that is all about it. Beyond that, nothing much important is there. And then we have one more article, fakeness among NGO isn't all that difficult to identify. Now see, there is not much information in this particular article, but you see in GS paper number 2, there is the developmental sector within which NGO, civil society, that is mentioned. Okay, now here, this particular, so a passing reference can be taken from this particular article. Now you see this particular thing. When we talk about NGOs, NGOs play an important role. They can mobilize support for vulnerable section. How NGO play an important role? They can mobilize support for vulnerable section. Second, NGOs can assist government in policy making. NGOs can represent the concerns for the vulnerable, for the poor people. NGOs can augment the government resource, can mobilize the resources for the government. So all are these ways in which NGOs play an important role. But today we find this particular thing that many times NGOs, they disproportionately project the role that they are playing in a society. Often they are not doing that much what they, but they suggest. Often they are not doing that much. But often what will happen, they'll create this particular impression They'll create this particular impression that they are doing a lot in the society. They'll fake what exactly they are doing. Now, there is a fakery versus dishonesty. First of all, let's understand that. What is fakery? Exaggeration. Okay, you study for 2 hours, but you say that I study for 10 hours. This is exaggeration. What is dishonesty? Dishonesty is outrightly lying. So the article says that often fakery is there in the NGOs activities. They have become self-appointed guardians. They present that we are the one who are taking care of society, we are the one who are giving voice to the voiceless people, but they are not doing that much. So there is exaggerated scale and depth. So many number of times they say that they are carrying large scale operations. They are working in thousands of schools, but their involvement is very much minimal. Once here and there they'll go, will deliver some speech, will deliver some seminar. Beyond that, they are not doing much. Okay, they overstate their impact. Then false grassroots engagement. Rather than spending time with the grassroots on the grassroots, NGOs are spending time with networking, finding more people who can donate to the NGOs, spending time with the funding, neglecting the genuine community involvement. Loss of true purpose. Often what happens, NGO, they start running behind getting more funding. They start running behind getting more political mileage, getting more recognition, and they lose their real objective. What needs to be changed? Funders need to play a very important role. Now, people who are funding the NGOs activity, they need to hold NGOs accountable that for whatever work NGOs are seeking money, they should deliver on that. There should be the support for genuine NGOs who have the proven track record. This is the way that these NGOs can be held accountable, and this is the way that they can emerge as the institutions which are truly caring for the people. Okay, so that is all, guys, the major issues and themes that we have here. Now, major articles related to the prelims examination we are going to take here. Fine. Now, the first article that we have here, it is with respect to the Shen Tribe. So recently what happened? Now, see, there is Nicobar development project that is going on. What is this Nicobar development project? Over the next 30 years, government aims to develop infrastructure in Nicobar where airport, physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure will be developed. Many environmentalists, many conservationists has criticized that it might have an impact on the native community such as tribal people. And one of the tribe, that is a Shen community, Shen tribe, that has often come in the news. Recently, environment minister also stated that the port project and the airport development project in the Nicobar Island will not impact or displace the Shen tribe. So basically, Shen tribe, they are the world's most secluded tribe. And they are also least studied, particularly vulnerable tribal group. Now, what are the particularly vulnerable tribal group? Within the particularly vulnerable tribal group, there are the 17 communities which are the most backward, which are the most neglected one. And within this PVTG, it is the least studied tribal. Now, where they largely live? They largely live in Campbell Bay National Park, Galathea National Park, Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve, and their population is just 229 as per 2011 census. So their population is less. They are not that much studied on developmental parameter. They face the concerns. Now their lifestyle, they are semi-nomadic tribe. There are hunter gatherers. Even they have so many dialects. They within their language, that often communication within the community and with the outsiders become very much difficult. They become very much difficult. Okay, so this is about the Shen tribe. Fine. Now moving on to the next article. Bio E3. So recently what happened? Cabinet has approved the Bio E3 policy. Now in examination, many number of times they ask the question where they give a keyword. Bio E3. What is Bio E3? Now 3 stands for biotechnology, bioeconomy, environment and employment. Bio E3. Now this Bio E3, it aims to focus on high performance biomanufacturing. Now what is biomanufacturing? So basically, guys, how algae can be used in medicines, industrial processes, how biological resources can be used in economy. Okay, so biomanufacturing. Now it uses it aims to make medicines, materials. Okay, how basically how biological resources can be used to address agricultural challenges, food related challenges. Okay, now in this bio E3, government will focus on biological organism based chemicals, biopolymers, bioenzymes, smart proteins, food products, precision biotherapeutics, which what is biotherapeutics? It is a dedicated these are the dedicated medicines using the enzymes such as the yeast, etc., for effective medicine delivery, drug delivery. Okay, climate resilient agriculture, carbon capture. So certain types of algae, certain types of bacteria are efficient, they can efficiently tap the carbon. Okay, marine and space research. Fine. Moving on. Next is the Vigyan Dhara scheme. Vigyan Dhara scheme. So what has happened recently? Okay, so recently, Union Cabinet, they have come out with Vigyan Dhara scheme, which will be under the Department of Science and Technology. Now, this Vigyan Dhara scheme, it has actually merged the three components within the Department of Science and Technology. Now, Vigyan Dhara, what it constitutes? It constitutes number one, science and technology, institutional and human capacity building. Now, you see this particular thing that India focuses. Now, let me give you some background. India's GDRD, gross domestic expenditure on research and development, is just 0.7% of GDP. Niti Aayog says that it should be increased to 2 to 2.5% of GDP. Now, Department of Science and Technology has specifically focused on science and technology, institutional and human capacity building, so that enhanced funding in the R&D can be absorbed. Okay, research and development is there, innovation, technology development and deployment is there. All these three components have been merged under Vigyan Dhara scheme. This Vigyan Dhara scheme is under the Department of Science and Technology. Now, this Vigyan Dhara scheme will utilize science to help India to become Vixit Bharat. Vixit Bharat by 2047. Vixit Bharat by 2047. Now, basically, the components will also be aligned with the Anusandhan National Research Foundation. Okay, moving on. Acute encephalitis syndrome. Acute encephalitis syndrome was in news. Okay, just a minute. Fine. Now, what is this acute encephalitis syndrome? So basically, in Gujarat recently, acute encephalitis AES outbreaks were observed. AES outbreaks were observed. Now, AES. So basically, AES encephalitis syndrome. So basically, it is a medical condition which is characterized by high fever, seizures, altered mental states, confusion, delusion, etc., that a person will face, multi-organ dysfunction, and also the common symptoms are vomiting, diarrhea. Now, it is caused by the multiple pathogens, for example, virus, bacteria, fungi, parasites, or they can lead to acute encephalitis syndrome. Now, diagnosis is difficult because it resembles with viral fever. Okay, so the outbreak of EES have been there in Gujarat. The next we have is INS Mumbai. So recently INS Mumbai was in news. INS Mumbai was in news because it is scheduled to make a visit in Sri Lanka, and would dock at Colombo port. Now, INS Mumbai, it is a ship under the Delhi class ships. Okay, so INS Mumbai, it is a ship and belong to the Delhi class guided missile destroyers. Now, when we talk about INS Mumbai has also been awarded as best ship and most spirited ship. So it has got the award of best ship on 3 occasions and most spirited ship on 2 occasions, and it is a rare distinction for any naval ship. Also, INS Mumbai, it has participated in some important operations. For example, it has participated in Operation Parakram. Now, what is Operation Parakram? It was taken up in 2002 and it aimed at mobilization of Indian forces after the parliament attack that happened. Then it participated in Operation Sukoon in 2006. Now it focused on evacuation of Indian, Nepali, Sri Lankan citizens from the Lebanon. And Operation Rahat 2015, that is the evacuation of Indian citizens from the Yemen after the Yemen crisis that began. Fine. Also, it is equipped with surface to surface missile, surface to air missile, anti-submarine rockets. Okay. Then next, here we have Parivesh Portal 2.0. Parivesh Portal 2.0. Now, recently, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they provided that exotic pets need to be declared under this Parivesh 2.0 portal. Now, you see this particular thing, that what are the exotic species, exotic pet, exotic plant, exotic creatures? Any creature, any variety of plant, any variety of animal which is not found locally in a particular region or a country, they are exotic. So, all the exotic pets, fine, listed under the Schedule 4 of Wildlife Protection Act, they must be registered, fine, through the Parivesh 2.0 portal. Now, there are the concerns with respect to the exotic species. Many number of times, they might carry certain viruses, they might carry certain diseases which might become, which might spread some pandemic, which might spread some epidemic. Okay. Sometimes they are smuggled. So therefore, Parivesh 2.0 portal is there. Now, Parivesh 2.0 portal, first of all, what does this Parivesh means? Parivesh stands for proactive and responsive facilitation by interactive, virtuous and environmental single window hub. And it is developed by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Then, Chile's Atacama salt flat sinking. Now, when we talk about the Chile, when we talk about the Atacama, so there is Atacama Desert in Chile. This is the driest place on the earth. And Chile also happens to be a place where a lot of lithium reserves are found. Now, in the Atacama Desert, now see, there is a study that is published in the IEEE Transactions on Geoscience and Remote Sensing journal. And it has found that in Chile, Atacama Desert, there are the salt flat plains that are there. Now, it is sinking. It is sinking. Now, actually, why it is sinking? It is because of the lithium brine extraction. Lithium brine extraction. So, basically, what is actually happening? In Atacama Desert, there are these huge geographical, formations that are there, in which, from which the water is being extracted. Now, this particular water has rich lithium. Now, water is being extracted, that particular water is being evaporated and lithium is being collected. So, lithium brine extraction involves pumping the salt rich water, evaporating that water, and after the evaporating, the lithium will be retrieved and this lithium is used into the battery manufacturing. And because of that, basically what is happening, salt flat, this particular structure, it is subsiding at the rate of 1 to 2 centimeter per year, 1 to 2 centimeter per year. Now, when we talk about lithium presently, it is called as white gold. Why it is called as white gold? Because its usage in the EVs, batteries, etc. has increased because of the EV revolution that is now coming. Now, in general, also lithium mining has always been, it has been controversial because of negative environmental impacts that it has. For example, this extraction process is water intensive. 2000 tons of water is needed to produce a single ton of lithium. Chemical contamination, because chemicals such as sulfuric acid, sodium hydroxide are used for the extraction. So because of that, lithium, often it has been said that lithium ion batteries will power the EV vehicles, but at the same time, extraction of lithium is environmentally controversial. Also, lithium mining, it has displaced the wildlife. Moving on. National Medical Register. Now, what is this National Medical Register? So recently, Health Minister has launched the National Medical Register. Now, this National Medical Register was mandated under the National Medical Commission Act 2019. It is nothing but a database of all the registered MBBS doctors. Now, often we find this particular thing that there are many quacks. Okay, many quacks are there who are actually not having a valid medical degree, but they are running their clinics. So in order to know that whether a doctor is holding valid MBBS degree or not, and whether the doctor has a license to operate as a medical practitioner or not, we can get the information through this NMC National Medical Register. So, and this is also linked with the Aadhaar ID of the doctor, which ensures the authenticity. Some data will be visible to public, but some data will not be visible to the public. Okay, nuclear powered trains. Nuclear powered trains. Now, basically the experiment to run nuclear powered trains was taken up way back in 1950s in the USSR. Now, Indian Railway is exploring the idea of nuclear powered trains. Now, these nuclear powered trains, they will be having uh, a portable nuclear reactor. This nuclear reactor, it will be powered by thorium. Why thorium? Because thorium based reactors, they have less risk of contamination, lower radiation risk. It will be powered by thorium. It will heat a fluid which will produce steam, and that particular steam will be used to run the electric turbines. So railways is experimenting with such nuclear powered trains. As of now, much details are not there. The next is She-Box portal. Next is She-Box portal. So recently, Union Ministry of Women and Child Development introduced the She-Box portal. Now, the She-Box portal was in the news, but it is not a new initiative. It has been there for a long period of time. Now, what is the She-Box? She-Box, it is a centralized online platform for the registration and monitoring of the sexual harassment complaint at the workplaces. Now, already we have POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace. We have Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace, POSH Act. Now, as this particular POSH Act is concerned, this POSH Act provides that workplaces need to have an internal complaint committee. And this internal complaint committee, they need to have an internal complaint committee. And this internal complaint committee will ensure that any sexual harassment case, if it is there, it should be addressed. And for effective monitoring of that, there is a She-Box. So this is a centralized repository. It has a user can file a complaint here, can track the status. Okay. Next, classical language. So recently, Center for Promoting Classical Language, such as Center for Promoting Telugu, Odia, Kannada, Malayalam, they have called for autonomy. Okay, now what is a classical language? So basically, as of now, 6 languages have been recognized as classical language. So basically, classical language is any language which fulfills these 4 criteria. Number 1, language should be having a history spanning 1500 to 2000 years, means old languages. They need to have a cultural heritage, substantial body of ancient literature, text. Next, original literary tradition. Okay, should be unique. This language should not have derived its tradition from some other language. And it should have a distinct and a different, unique evolution. Now, languages that have been recognized as classical language are Tamil, Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia. Odia is the latest one. It got added in 2014. Now, if a language is recognized as classical language, then there are multiple benefits that are there. Number 1, 2 international awards for the scholars in these languages. Then, development of center of excellence, which will work for the development and research in such languages. Next, UGC to set up professional chairs, which will specifically be to do the scholarly research, to do the scholarly work in these particular languages. The next, mass wasting. Now, what is so basically what has happened? First of all, recently there was a study. There was a study that was published, and this particular study says that in the Sedongpu Gully of Tibetan Plateau, there is mass wasting that is happening. What is mass wasting? Mass wasting refers to the collapse or refers to the flow of dust, rock, debris on the. So what it is? It is a downward movement of rock, soil, debris due to the gravity. A kind of a landslide type of situation. So a mass wasting event, it is brewing in the Sedongpu Gully of the Tibetan Plateau, and it might have a negative impact on the northeastern part of the country. Northeastern part of the country. So basically, mass wasting happens because of the instability of the slope, due to which the rock, soil, it flows downward. Okay. It can also be triggered because of the sudden events such as the snow melt, heavy rain, earthquake, or such kind of an activity. And usually the most common trigger is rainfall, untimely rainfall. Then next, recently Pacific Island Forum was in news because its annual meeting was held recently. Now Pacific Island Forum, it was established way back in 1971 and it has 18 member states. Now members are Australia, Cook Island, Micronesia, Fiji, French Polynesia, Kiribati, Nauru, uh, New Caledonia, New Zealand, New Palau, Papua New Guinea, Republic of Marshall Island, Samoa, Solomon Island, Tonga, Tuvalu, and Vanuatu. And what is the objective? Objective is to collectively work for improving the political issues, to improve economy, as well as to work on enhancing the security, as well as also to cooperate on the issues which might be of common concern. For example, for them, climate change is a common concern. So this is a platform where they'll be negotiating and discussing on all these particular issues. Okay. Now decision making is on the basis of the consensus. Okay. So this is, guys, all about it. And with this, we come to an end to this particular session. So guys, I hope that you are able to understand it, and I hope that it is clear to all of you. So this is, guys, all about it. Now we'll be meeting next week. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much. And that is all for today. Thank you.